For coming to Arizona Dog Smart Academy's first training workshop for volunteers, fosters, and kennel staff. My name is David Michael Sanders, certified canine instructor for Arizona Dog Sports and owner of Zen Canine LLC. Today we're going to talk about a lot of very important topics, so if you can take notes. I do apologize we didn't have room for enough tables, so in September we're going to be doing another event just like this in a larger room, so everybody can kind of spread out and have some elbow room. So I do apologize. We didn't anticipate this big of a turnout. So welcome. I do thank you guys for coming and supporting us. So we have a lot of high drive working dogs that get in trouble because they don't have anything else to do. Okay, so now I want to talk about how we're going to teach these guys. How can we save these guys? How can we make them learn to live cohesively in a family dynamic? And we have to teach them, and we have to start out by showing them the right behavior. Show them what we want them to do. A lot of times we wait and we let them figure it out on their own, and then we correct them, and now they get confused, and now we have this whole misunderstanding of what's going on. So how animals learn, including us, is by association. This is called associative learning. Association, reinforcement, and consequence. So how we implement consequence has everything to do with how our dog perceives a behavior. So for example, if a dog barks and lunges and goes crazy at a garbage truck, and then I get mad at him and I correct him and I say, no, stop, don't, I'm only negatively conditioning the garbage truck. I'm not changing the association of what that means. I'm being reactive instead of proactive. 5 facts about learning. Everybody thinks, well, I take my dog to class and that's good enough. He should get it for the week. Not so. Every interaction with our dog is training. They're always learning. They're always taking in information. So if we're inconsistent, where we kind of allow the jumping sometimes and then we correct it other times, we're going to have an inconsistent dog. If we spend an hour allowing the dog to pull us around the neighborhood, the dog is practicing bad behavior. So it's really about what we're getting done in the amount of time that we are working with them. It's about the quality of time, not the quantity. So we have to be very specific on what we're teaching and what we're rewarding, and be very, very clear on what's appropriate and what's not. Because if we are not quite clear, the dog is not going to have a clear understanding of what is right or wrong. Depending on the animal's experiences, because there could be certain triggers that we don't quite know until we're working them through it, and then, oh, I figured out, oh, don't do that, he's a little leash reactive, so I got to work him through just being grabbed by his collar before I can even leash him up and take him for a walk. So it's very important to go slow, understand that they are living entities. We don't want to treat them like they're luggage and rushing. When we rush things, that's when we get nipped, and that's when we get warned. So when we handle them, we want to be very, very gentle and very respectful. High stress handling is when we're just worried about what we want to do and we're not concerned with the feelings of the dog. And when that happens, dogs tend to warn us and let us know. And it usually starts with a growl, sometimes a showing of teeth. But notice the lack of stabilizing the hindquarters in the picture on the left. That dog feels very threatened, very unstable, and this is a common mistake that can get someone bit and can cause a dog to be rehomed due to mishandling. The picture on the right, why might this type of handling stress a dog out? What do you guys see there? Anyone? Well, a couple things. She's being pretty forceful by holding the dog's neck up. You can see the look of stress on the dog's eyes. And we don't know if that dog has fear of objects. So something in her hand right there could cause that dog to feel threatened and react. So we want to be very careful on our mannerisms when we're working with dogs that we don't know. We want to move a little bit slower, be very deliberate, and to show them, I'm doing this now, I'm doing that now. just to let them know we're not going to harm them. And this is for dogs that are fearful and standoffish and just really not sure about their environment. Another one is avoidance. When you see a dog look away or try to add distance or try to just get out of there or looking for an escape, that is the number one first warning signal before the dog has to warn a little bit more seriously. Before you see the lip curl or the teeth showing, those are all distance increasing signals. When they do that, they want space between whatever it is they're looking at. Tolerance. If you see a dog and they know another dog is there, they're just acting like it's not there. And they're just tolerating it. They're not trying to interact with it in any way. They're just treating it like it's this flag or a potted plant or something. That's antisocial. You know, they're not play bowing. They're not going to be curling up and cuddling and sharing toys anytime soon. Hard social contact. Again, it can go either way. It depends the dog. It depends on the dog's level of intent. But aggressive assertion is what we're going to see for an antisocial dog, where they don't know quite how to communicate, so they're just going to dominate. So we want to take that as a red flag and not allow that interaction to go on any further. So this is what we're all looking for: pacifying behaviors, muzzle nudging, muzzle licking, rolling over to expose the belly. Those are behaviors that inhibit confrontation. Those are behaviors that keep the peace. Dominant versus aggressive. A lot of people think it's the same thing, and it's really not. We saw the one dog, the cattle dog, the pit bull mix. She is dominant. She's not aggressive. She'll take it to a point, but she won't go any further than that. So dominant dogs tend to have a confident attitude, and they provide appropriate social consequences, meaning they're not going to draw blood. They just want to control the situation. So they're more controlling, and that's dominant. Aggressive dogs tend to be insecure, under-socialized, irritable, frustrated, quick to react, with an authoritarian attitude. Bruce. And he's super sweet. He's a loving dog. It's just all about under-socialization and fear. So he's going to act tough. He's going to scare everybody so they all respect him. You know, so it's like the Napoleon complex kind of thing. You know, they overcompensate due to lack of confidence. So test your knowledge. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Is this play? What would you do in an instance like this? Anyone?
They're probably littermates, so they're playing that one to watch.
Well, they're not fighting, but what they're doing is obviously dominating. So what can happen is if we don't step in and we say, oh, well, they're just littermates and they're figuring it out for themselves, what's happening is this guy's practicing being a bully, and this guy's learning to be submissive. So he could become fear aggressive over time because he doesn't want this to happen. He thinks every dog is going to try to do that to him. So that dog on the bottom could become fear aggressive. This dog on the top could become overly dominant, which could turn to aggression because the little one or the one underneath is going to protect himself and warn and say, get off of me. And then it depends on how the dominant one takes that. If they want to keep at it, or if they want to say, oh, okay, I was just playing, and leave them alone. These dogs obviously aren't litter mates, but there's a vast size differential here. And even though this is relatively play behavior, the little dog may be only tolerating it, and at some point is going to be forced to say, get off of me. And then it depends on how the black dog is going to take that. Not all dogs take warning signals well. They take them as challenges, and it could trigger a real attack. So 6 steps to reading a dog. 1 is the arousal level. How excited is the dog? If he's relaxed, it's a good thing. If he's worked up, that's when we can get displaced behaviors. So I'm looking for tail movement, vocalization, muscle tremors, accelerated reaction, piloerection, which is the hair bristling down the back, which can go all the way to the puff of the tail. See, look at her tail. Okay? Good. When we saw the frothing, what we talked about before. Good. So we're going to see if she can come up and stand right to the side. Okay? Good. So what did she do? She looked away. See how she's moving this way. See, so those are all subtle indicators that she's not completely comfortable with him. So it's all about changing association to a positive association. Okay, so unfortunately we are up on time. So I do apologize for that. We're going to have to do 2 seminars next time. We're going to have maybe a weekend thing, a Friday and a Saturday, if you guys would be willing to do that, because I do have a lot more information that I would like to touch on, but unfortunately time is not allowing us to do so. Please, oh yes, I want to give a huge thank you to Will Bruner, who co-authored some of the slides on here, and he's also one of the trainers at Arizona Dog Sports as well. And a huge thank you to Lainey Kisler and all of the employees at Arizona Dog Sports and Zen Canine LLC. And a big, huge thank you to all of you guys for supporting us and coming and listening and participating. I really appreciate you all. Thank you very much.